MultimediaJay radio style.
What's up, everyone? Another sweltering day, as it feels more like late July, early August than late May. We've had ridiculous humidity every single day this week and ridiculous thunderstorms in the evening. So, yeah, well, I guess it's better than snow. Anyways, the new Xbox has been announced. Yeah, I hear all the cheering already. Xbox what? Yeah, the Xbox One has got to be the saddest excuse for a console that I have ever seen from any company, actually. If you want to see what everything wrong in gaming looks like, look at the upcoming Xbox that was just announced earlier this week. It's an absolute, utter embarrassment. Seriously. So, what do I have against the Xbox One? Well, where do I begin? I'm going to have to do some thinking on this. Actually, let's start with a recap of the last two Xbox units. First, you had the original Xbox, which I didn't really have much of a problem with, although it was Microsoft's new entry, Microsoft's newbie entry into the world of gaming, so I wasn't really all that, we didn't really pay too much attention to it. Everybody that I knew in college, except for one single person, had a PS2, so there was one person that decided to be Mr. Different and get an Xbox and play Halo and stuff like that. But for the most part, I heard more about PS2 back during the days of the original Xbox. About the only real game that I heard of for the original Xbox and paid any attention to was Morrowind, which had problems with disk lockup or disk read errors and freezes and stuff like that, to go along with the PC version's constant crashes to the desktop and other assorted nonsense like that and that kind of thing. Then there was the Xbox 360. Oh, what an embarrassment. First, Microsoft picked the wrong side in the HD format war, supported HD DVD until HD DVD went off the market, and then they, where do I begin on the 360? Red Ring of Death, of course. Two separate revisions of the console, the first being way more than the second one, obviously. The Slimline hasn't had as much of a problem, but the original Xbox 360s and the Red Ring of Death, it was just an embarrassment. I mean, it basically harkened back to some, I've mentioned this before, but it harkened back to some jokes we used to tell back during the 1990s when using like Windows 98 and stuff, where Windows 98 would crash for no reason whatsoever under normal use, and people would be like, well, at least Microsoft doesn't make computers. Imagine how bad it would be if Microsoft ever made a computer. Then along comes the 360, and what do you know? We see exactly what we've been joking about. The very things that we were making fun of come to light and exist, and we get to put up with it and stuff along those lines. So the console wound up gimped on storage space because it got stuck with regular DVD after HD DVD failed and fell out of contention with Blu-ray. There never was any kind of Blu-ray support on the 360. And then we have the problems with like Xbox Live costs money and things like that. And then there was the whole hard drive thing. This was really the showstopper for me ever getting a 360, was the proprietary hard drives and their little hard drive caddies and stuff like that, meaning that replacement hard drives for the Xbox would be ridiculously more expensive than just getting a computer hard drive like you can with the Sony consoles, especially PS3 Slim, which was actually designed to make things easier for people to replace their own hard drives. So, yeah, that was one of the big reasons why I wound up preferring PS3 over the 360, was it was way more nerd-friendly. Here's Sony, after being dealt a nice little slice of humble pie with how badly of a start the PS3 got off to, and now we have, and then they went and did the 360 Slim, yeah, right, the PS3 Slim redesign, and they just make it more nerd-friendly by making it easier to swap out your own hard drives. Does Microsoft take a hint and do the same thing? No, of course not. They just keep making it harder and harder and harder. And then there were times when people were like, oh yeah, well, heck with Microsoft, I'm going to figure out how to put in my own hard drive myself. I'm going to disassemble the hard drive caddy and put one in on my own. And then I'm reading about people getting banned from Xbox Live for unauthorized modifications to their consoles because they put in their own hard drive. What an embarrassment. I mean, seriously. You'd think Microsoft would learn a thing or two from what has happened with the 360. But do they learn their lesson? No, of course not. Thus, nowadays, we have the colossal mess known as the Xbox One. Now, some of this stuff, I guess, still has to be finalized, but with what I've heard about the Xbox One, Microsoft could just forget about me ever getting one. Seriously, what were they thinking? Oh, wait a minute. No, I think I can guess as to what they were thinking. They're thinking that because they did so well with the 360, that they can just coast, that they can just continue going on and doing well off of the inertia from the 360 success. Well, Sony kind of learned that lesson going from PS2 to PS3, and I think it's Microsoft's turn to get whacked with the humility mallet. So please, folks, tell me, is there anything I should like about the Xbox One? What can I get from the Xbox One that I won't get from, like, PS4 or PC on Steam or something like that, that isn't some kind of gimmick, like the mandatory 1080p Connect? Are you kidding me? Oh, wow, well, we want nerds to be able to walk into their living room, say Xbox, and have everything start up. Oh, man, that's a Saturday Night Live spoof waiting to happen when this thing comes out, let me tell you. I can just imagine someone doing some kind of comedy skit where they kind of make fun of the Xbox One and that whole voice-activated wake-on voice thing that they're experimenting with. Hey, I got the new Xbox game. System starting. No, I don't want to play Xbox. Please wait, system is booting. Shut up, Xbox, and shut yourself off. Sorry, please wait until the system is booted before entering more. Well, I'm sure it won't be like that, but seriously, people go, hey, let's play some Xbox. I'm sure that's the intent, where it's like someone's like, hey, let's play some Xbox, and the thing fires up. But what if people are just casually talking about the Xbox? I can imagine wake-on voice was probably something that's going to be tweaked or disabled by many people after they have that a few incidents like that where they are casually talking about an Xbox game and the system starts up when they don't want to play anything. But that's just kind of the geeky thing anyways. But mandatory 1080p webcam just for the thing to run. That's almost as bad as I believe the Wii U will not run without a gamepad. So if that $170 controller breaks, oops. Or malfunctions or something like that, you're left with a brick or something like that. What are these console makers thinking these days? I mean, console gaming is on the defensive enough as it is. Never mind stunts like this. Then there's the whole used game thing where there's going to be a fee to play used game. Oh, man. Pretty sad. I know that disc-based games are becoming rarer and rarer these days as people discover the convenience of being able to just fire up a game without having to put a disc in every single time. Like, I don't know. I mean, I know I'm seeing this on my PS3 as well. So sometimes, or even on my PC, where Steam games are fun, but then I have to play a non-Steam game, and I'm actually annoyed because I have to go hunting for the disc because it does a disc check when the game starts up. And stuff like that. So, I gotta find the disc. And I'm actually finding myself playing Steam games or games that don't require discs more than games that do. So these people that are saying that the used game market, it may be on its way out, I can somewhat believe them, but these artificial restrictions on installed software that these console folks are doing is just absolutely uncalled for, let me tell you. So basically, what Microsoft is doing here is there's a used game, or at least the latest I've heard. This could change before the console comes out, but basically everything's going to be tied to the Xbox Live account. Sounds kind of like Steam. It's tied to your Xbox Live account, and in order to loan a game to a friend, they have to pay like a loaner fee or something like that in order to enable them to be able to play the game on their account and not yours or something like that. So it sounds kind of like Steam, where everything's account-based, and except there's this whole thing where you can sell games off and stuff like that, and stuff along those lines. And then when you couple that with the internet requirement that, no, the console's not going to be always online. It's not going to be totally like the DRM in the horrendously launched SimCity game that just came out a month or two ago. So it's not going to be always online, but it does require an internet connection to check in at least once a day, last I read on this matter. As us nerds would put it, it has to phone home to the mothership every so often. So, between this internet requirement, the account-based thing, and the used games thing, what has Microsoft accomplished here? Congratulations, Microsoft. You've just created the Steam experience, except you got to pay hundreds of dollars to buy a box instead of just downloading software onto your computer. Real good job, Microsoft. That will totally make people like you and totally deflect any criticisms where people are like, oh, Microsoft's just trying to run off of the inertia from the Xbox 360, because that's exactly what's going on here. Lastly, to show solidarity with my fellow nerds, I want to raise my fist in the air at Microsoft continuing their hard drive nonsense. You know, Sony with the PS3 Slim decides to make their console more nerd-friendly and make it easier for people to upgrade their own hard drive, to upgrade hard drives and stuff like that, or swap out their own hard drives. And what does Microsoft do? They go completely in the other direction. The Xbox One has a non-user serviceable hard drive. 500 gigs, non-user serviceable. Are you kidding me? In the year 2013, these idiots are putting a non-user serviceable hard drive in their supposed futuristic next-gen console. What kind of drugs were these people on? No, wait, please. I don't want the answer to that question. I don't want to know what makes people think or act in such a messed up manner when designing a console. A non-user replaceable hard drive. Are you kidding me? It's a mechanical drive, too, from what I can imagine. This would be one thing if this was some kind of, like, 500 gig SSD that Microsoft was able to score for real cheap, but a mechanical drive? Are you kidding me? Mechanical hard drives in computers represent one of the last holdouts of moving parts, while the rest of the machine switched over to far more reliable solid-state electronics. That is, barring something like the capacitor plague, which was a known manufacturing defect in the 2000s that caused faulty capacitors in all kinds of devices to bulge and burst and ruin the electronics in the devices, solid-state electronics can last for a pretty darn long time. Other than my one motherboard that fell victim to capacitor plague, I've never had a motherboard die in any of the computers that I have. My dad actually has as his backup system the computer that I built in 2005, which runs off an Athlon 64 and has a motherboard from the mid-2000s. Other than replacing the clock battery, which went dead after X amount of years, I've never had problems with it. That's pretty much the trend with a lot of the bigger ticket electronics stuff that I've had over the years. It just keeps going and going and going. But the only kind of electronics, of the only solid state devices that I've had where they've started flaking out after X amount of years is network equipment. I don't know why network equipment manufacturers can't build their stuff properly, but routers, my DSL modem that I just replaced, routers, switches, all these other things that maybe it's because they're on all the time or something like that, or they may run in locations that get hot or something like that. But yeah, I just haven't had much luck with network equipment, but other stuff like consoles, televisions, computers, it just keeps going and going and going. But the minute you introduce moving parts, that's when stuff starts breaking because, well, moving parts wear out, they break, they snap, they seize up. They do all kinds of things that moving parts do, and hard drives are no exception. I've had more than my share of bad hard drives that barely make it out of their warranty period before just seizing up entirely, or in other ways becoming unusable and having to be replaced. But this is the thing. Microsoft doing this with the Xbox One. Seriously. Non-user replaceable hard drive? Why not just put a big sticker on there saying, we want to charge you an expensive repair bill at least once during the life of this console and stuff like that. Yeah, so when the drive breaks, it's non-user serviceable. Watch. I'll bet somebody tries to hack that and get that fixed and fix their own Xbox or something like that. There'll be like a teardown video on YouTube shortly after the thing launches or something, which then, of course, then look for Microsoft to abuse the DMCA or something like that because, hey, they're reverse engineering. Take the video down. Stuff along those lines. But yeah, seriously. Actually, what this reminds me of is a little something I encountered with music players several years ago when I bought my SanDisk Sansa, which still works all these years later. But I heard that one of the reasons I got it was because it actually had screws on the back, and you could actually replace the battery yourself if you killed the battery for whatever reason, as opposed to the iPods of the time where I was hearing about how all these iPods out there, the battery would go dead after sometimes as little as 11 months, and then Apple would charge somebody pretty much a repair, as if the device had really broken, just to switch out the battery and give someone a functional iPod again. And then you had all the videos like, oh, look, we're going to take it apart with a putty knife and stuff like that and replace it ourselves and things along those lines. And the battery in my Sansa, it's lost a little bit of its service life. It won't last as many hours on a charge as it used to, but it's still going, and this is over like 5-6 years later. So that's pretty nice in terms of longevity. But that's what this Xbox 360. How long is it going to take me to stop saying Xbox and 360 together? I wonder. But anyways, that's what this Xbox One hard drive thing reminds me of. So please, folks, if you still want to be a fan of Microsoft this go round, please tell me, why should I like the Xbox One? Because I'm not seeing any reason whatsoever. I mean, you've got Gabe Newell and Valve and trying to take Steam to the next level by getting around some of the remaining problems with having games on Steam, like offline mode and stuff like that. And they're expanding into hardware, which I hope includes a hardware card or some kind of hardware-based authentication for Steam. So if you ever have an extended internet outage, you don't lose your Steam library and stuff like that. That would be the direction that Valve should take with Steam. But Microsoft, forget it. They're going completely in the other direction. Oh, and this TV thing where they want to integrate it with TV, television as we know it is on the defensive too. So what we have here is a console with some outrageously dated ideas, pretty much latching itself onto a dated technology that's been on the defensive for years as the internet has sprung up. I mean, what was Microsoft thinking here? Is that all they want to do this decade is fail again and again and again? Yeah, let's not forget, folks, Windows 7 came out in the late 2000s. So you could technically say that the 2010s are Microsoft's decade of failure. So first they had Windows 8, which has sold so poorly that Windows Vista still has a larger install base in Windows. I know, shocking, right? I was shocked when I read about that myself. I was reading it, I think it was a ZDNet or something article. I was talking about it on my last Out of Continue show that I was a guest host on. But yeah, after all this time since Windows 8 came out, Windows Vista is still more popular than Windows 8. The most popular Microsoft OSs are Windows 7 and Windows XP. And then Vista has more installs than 8. I mean, and now, of course, we have the Xbox One. I mean, is that all Microsoft wants to do this decade, is just fall flat on its face over and over and over again? Actions speak louder than words, so I'm going to have to see some very different things from them in order for me to think differently about them. But yeah, I mean, seriously, what were they thinking? And for that matter, what are the other console manufacturers thinking too? Because I haven't really been following the PS4 much since its announcement, but there's still some speculation about some possible shenanigans on that console. And then the Wii U. I'm looking at an article right now for about the Wii U. The Wii U now has the Virtual Console, but if you have old Wii Virtual Console games, you have to pay $1 to $150 to get the Wii U version. You can't just transfer all your Wii Virtual Console games straight to the Wii U. Please, Nintendo, what were you thinking with that? Is it really that hard to make an emulator that plays 20-plus-year-old games? Oh, man. You know, one of the reasons I wanted to get a Wii U was to move all my Nintendo stuff over. Wii games, it's backward compatible with Wii games, but apparently I have to pay a surcharge to get my Wii Virtual Console games over there. Oh man, that's just sad. They can't just have one digital download store for the Wii and the Wii U. Is it really that hard to make old Wii Virtual Console games work on the Wii U? I mean, seriously, why should I get a Wii U now? I mean, it'd be nice if I could upscale my Wii games to 1080p, but when I can't just transfer everything over now, and here I was thinking my Wii would be a GameCube play or something. I don't know. At this point, you know, I don't really, other than Mario Kart or something like that, maybe I should just keep putting up with the 480p component signal that I get from the Wii instead of going HDMI with the Wii U, but so the box can upscale Wii games, but you can't just move your Virtual Console stuff over. And I'm also reading too that the PS4 is going to be like that as well, where these downloads that were available on the PlayStation Store for PS3 aren't going to play on the PS4 right out of the bat. The reason why this makes me so furious is because these kinds of artificial restrictions on technology is exactly what the broadband industry is doing. The broadband industry is making money hand over fist off of rate hikes all over the place for frivolous artificial reasons, like crying about network congestion, and then they're offering services over the exact same. Or no, I don't even have to mention services that are exempt from bandwidth caps. While these ISPs are crying over network congestion, they're offering quote-unquote business class internet without bandwidth caps over the exact same stuff for far more per month. I mean, when an ISP does that, I mean, that's just a dead giveaway that it's not really congestion. They just want to make more money and not be stuck with dumb pipes. But now we've got the gaming industry doing exactly that. When I was reading about the Xbox One, when I was right after the launch and I was playing catch up with it, and especially after seeing some YouTube videos ranting about it, all I could think of was, if EA made a console, this would be it. Yeah, sad. I know there's a lot of Xbox fans that want to come after me now with torches and pitchforks, but that's what Microsoft has done here. Everything wrong with gaming right now can be found in the Microsoft's knockoff of a Steam box is basically what it is. Wow. The same experience as playing games on Steam, except you got to spend a couple $100 on an expensive piece of hardware first. Wow, that's so appealing, Microsoft. Good job. But all these artificial restrictions, though, like with Sony and Nintendo now, is that what gaming's all about these days? Getting people to buy proprietary digital copies of games 5, 6, 7, 8 times? You know, this really gets me thinking, maybe I should get more into retro gaming myself and keep my PS2 Slim as like a retro box for PS1 games instead of downloading a lot of PS1 games to the PS3 store and stuff like that. At least I'll know I can play it there. But, yeah, what does the console gaming world come to? Even if these kinds of shenanigans weren't going on, console gaming would still be on the defensive because there's all these other devices out there nowadays that are more than competent at playing games. And then you got guys like Gabe Newell and at Valve talking about taking the PC experience into the living room. So all of this competition, and what are these console makers doing? They're making more and more artificial walls and kicking against the bricks like this. I don't know. You know, at work right now, we got the summer volume on the way, and there's some new people starting off that are going to be like summer help and stuff like that. And we got these 2 people that just started this week, and they're both gamers. They're both big-time gamers, and they're both like friendly fanboys. They're not like, they don't like spew venomous, vile, and insults if you don't like the console that they like. But these 2 are, one of them's big on Xbox, the other's big on PlayStation. They've kind of been taking friendly little swings at each other when we're all waiting to punch in at the time clock. And so, Xbox, PlayStation, stuff like that. They're going back and forth about who's going to do better, PS4 or Xbox One or something like that. And I was like, and the night they were doing this, I was like, go PC. Yeah, nerding it out right there. But I don't know. Maybe I'll be feeling sorry for doing that if consoles really start taking hits because of these kinds of things. I mean, people like to talk about big gaming companies being out of touch with gamers and the state of this hobby in the first place. But I don't think it's just a software problem. I think the console manufacturers really need to wake up and realize that the only thing that these artificial restrictions, like these digital download glitch things and used game shenanigans and stuff like that, the only thing that these artificial restrictions are going to do is make people hate them even more and more. And who knows? Maybe this might cause like a renaissance of retro gaming, like in the case of the old PlayStation games. One of the reasons why I bought my PS3 was to get digital downloads of certain PS1 games I never got to play, like Final Fantasy VII. I have the PC version, but I've never played the original PlayStation version, and but you can't get Final Fantasy VII for anything but a collector's price unless you buy it from the PlayStation Store. Well, now that I know that I can just get it from my PS3, and I know there might be some problems with stuff going from PS3 digital download to PS4. Should I even bother with a PS4? Should I even bother with anything new, actually? It's really... I'm just speechless right now that these companies are doing this. with the state that console gaming is in, these companies should not be doing stuff like this. And I can't believe that I've gotten 25 minutes out of this. So let's just shut up right now and move on to bigger and better things. Thanks for listening, everybody. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. You've been listening to MultimediaJay Radio Style. Thanks for stopping by.